Anaìs Nin once said that life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. And so here I am, using creative courage to begin again and once again transcend my aversion to being seen. And I know I'm not alone, because each time I lead with vulnerability and the realness of how I feel now, these words connect to those of you that also are riding the crest of a wave that cannot be stopped. The fear of being seen. I want to talk about it because it's a natural, normal thing to avoid things that are uncomfortable. But I feel like to be seen trying, to be seen as you are, is one of the greatest challenges of our time. We have a deep need and desire to be seen, which is why we are so scared of it, because we feel we are being judged, that we are exposed and vulnerable, and that we are not accepted by the tribe. And so we would rather stay in hiding. But staying in hiding guarantees that we don't get connection. Being seen is scary, because our amygdala says so. Our little ancient fear center in the brain is part of how we evaluate social consequences. Even with repetition, confidence is often uncomfortable because it requires that we find strength in a state of expansion. And to hold a state of expansion requires that strength. It requires that you stay in your body and you own whatever space you take up. That you are accepted as you are. And that your innate being has absolute permission to be. And I say these things, and they're ideas, and they might sound good, and they might resonate, but we need to bring them into some kind of practice. We need to embody. We need to embody creative courage to overcome the oppressive feedback loops of staying in hiding. Now, your amygdala is quick to say, stay in hiding. Part of its job as the fear center in the brain is dishing out a response, a reaction really, to whatever threat it can perceive in our environment. And because of our built-in negativity bias, our great capacity for recognizing problems before solutions, before possibilities, which was what kept us alive, the amygdala is key in discerning where you sit in this social ladder. And when it feels that you are exposed, vulnerable, open to danger, it responds by initiating our fight or flight, freeze or fawn. I personally go to freeze. I'm not going to run away from the camera, but when I allow that fear response to take over and plug up my words, the words slow to a halt. It's like I don't have anything to say. But I do. I do. But I'm not giving myself that space to say it. Or the space to say it from where I am now, from what I feel now, rather than what I think I should be doing. And how I think I should be saying this because we want our authentic selves to be seen. But that's hard if you're thinking about authenticity. Authenticity is thoughtless, embodied in your body, writing the present moment expression. I want to reference some of the neuroscience that is occurring here so that we can have different lenses through which to view ourselves, rather than the hyper-subjective, personalized interpretation of you and all the things you can't do and all the things that are wrong. Can we look at it as overarching cognitive processes in the brain that we can exert some influence over? When the amygdala has this response, this natural, fearful response to being seen, because this response was ingrained in us from early days. If our primordial communities rejected us, judged us, dejected us, we would die. And so there were very tangible, visceral consequences to being kicked out from the group. So the same tools we use to feel and discern and navigate those consequential experiences are now coming to the surface when we're sitting by ourselves, speaking from the heart, out of a desire to connect, to be approved, to be acknowledged, to be seen. When we are considering what and how others think of us, prefrontal cortex is engaged. It's complex, subjective, personal relationships that are stemming from where you're standing in that moment, right? How you feel influences what you perceive, and what you perceive is what you receive. That is reality. Perception is how you create distinction out of the undifferentiated matter of cosmos. It is as if we have a spotlight shining over us, illuminating all of our flaws. It's like being convinced that the person next to you in yoga knows just how inflexible you are, and they're judging you for it. Or that the people at the gym have definitely noticed that you're using 10-pound weights and the other guys are using 30-pound weights. Nobody gives a fuck. They're too busy thinking about themselves, or thinking about what you are thinking of them. None of it is personal. It's separated in the most unusual ways from our nature. We used to inhabit pockets of the landscape that were resonant. Areas of the land where you would shout, and that shout would echo back to you. You could sing, and the land would give you a precise and immediate response of that singing. The felt sense of not being alone, of being connected to something that can so perfectly hold the shape of you that it reflects you right back. It is the call and response of the cosmos. We want call and we want the response, but where are we calling from? It's natural, normal, healthy to want validation, confirmation, approval, and legitimacy to the fact that nature has a place for you. We're so busy trying to find that place by navigating pathways laid out by people who are not us. Belief models that we didn't create, that aren't aligned with the values we have. And so, to overcome this fear of being seen is of great importance. It's of great importance. Because if you come out and allow yourself to be seen, I see myself through you. You are a mirror that gives me permission to come out and be me. There is no thinking about what content to create, How should I capitulate and conform to an algorithm that I don't know, that does not recognize humanity, only data? Overcoming a fear of being seen is not about removing the fear. Navigating it and how it comes up in all the different shapes it makes as it emerges in response to whatever you are experiencing in this phase of life. There will always be parts of you that want attention and expression. And there will always be parts of you that are terrified of the consequences. You simply showing up confirms my existence. And the collective is only a beautiful place because of the individual expressions that make it up. There's a great quote by Teddy Roosevelt called "The Man in the Arena," and I'm not going to repeat it to you now. I suggest you search it up. If it resonates, the moral of this story is that we do not want to succumb to the weak objections and criticisms of those on the sidelines. That it is about being in the arena, showing up where it matters to you, embracing the dirt, the grit, the grime, the insecurities, the terror of being human, and finding play in that. You can choose courage over comfort, creativity over criticism. You can lead with whatever you feel right now without any obligation that you are the same person that you were yesterday. You can do that. P.S. It's worth asking yourself, really, what the worst case scenario would be. Truly, what is the worst thing that could happen? It's probably not that bad.